Hi everyone, coming from Sackville, New Brunswick. I was just going to do a quick lap, a first look at the trail I've been working on for the past few months. Have the better part of a kilometer done now. I apologize in advance. The leaves are starting to fall, so it might be a little noisy on the mic. At least, however, we will get some beautiful colors on the trail. So this is all being done just by me. I just have a Stihl 261 cm chainsaw. Everything's being done with a 16-inch bar. Don't need anything more for what I'm doing here. The woods are very, very dense in most portions, and the trees have not had the opportunity to grow into any substantial size that would necessitate something larger than a 16-inch bar. So basically my process is beginning with the dead trees, taking all them down and stacking them to burn. Now I know you'll see a lot of these piles in the woods. Yes, we will lose a little bit of the wood that's touching the ground. It will rot away. However, with the sheer quantity that we have and what we need for burning, the loss is minimal. So we're not worried about that. It's more time efficient to just stack it where we cut it. But yeah, back to the process. Basically taking everything dead down first, chopping it up with the, taking it down with the chainsaw, limbing, bucking, stacking, and anything that is smaller than firewood is getting chipped. And you can see it's working fantastic. We literally line the path with wood chips. Now it works great for basically cutting down on any weeds and vegetation coming up on the trail. Prevents a little bit of erosion. It allows you to walk on the trail and make it usable even during, the muddy, wet seasons. And it's just visually appealing. So we love putting the wood chips down. Now to get those wood chips, we actually use a awesome little chipper from a company called Splitfire. I believe they're based in Ontario. And it does everything up to basically what you would have for firewood. Anything smaller gets chipped. Now you can see the plan here is to have a general loop around the perimeter of our property. Now this parcel is roughly 15 acres. Not huge, but large enough to have a trail with some purpose. And then we're just going to have all these little offshoots here. Now this clearing isn't done, but eventually this will be a nice little clearing for either a campsite. Now we have a little one that we just had a few weeks ago, and the plan is to eventually, have a swing set out in the woods, a little area that we can go and play, whether it's a little sand pit or horseshoes, games along those lines. So this is going to be a nice circular clearing. I'd love to be able to, this tree's dead here, this huge one in the middle. I wish I was able to do something with it. We'll see. Hasn't come down yet. Might find a use for it in the future. Eventually I plan on getting our own Alaskan mill. I've been looking at the Granbergs. A heck of a lot easier to, do rudimentary milling in the woods than, bringing the wood to the mill. Now this entire process so far, like I said, one-man process, just me. So far it's taken a few months. I'm trying to be pretty thorough, so it might be taking a little longer than I initially expected. But it's coming along. I expect, it's probably going to be 4 or 5 years before the entire trail is done. Which will, it'll fly by, especially with the little one in the mix now. And I strategically try to keep some trees in particular from being cut down. I don't like to touch anything that doesn't need to be. I don't know what this tree is. I've been trying to figure this one out. It has beautiful pink and white berries that come in fall. It's lost them now, but it's a beautiful tree when it's in full bloom. Now, if anybody had been following the news of this part of the world lately, we just experienced Hurricane Fiona, which unfortunately it wreaked havoc on the region. We came out relatively unscathed. On the front of our property, we have a giant maple that, it lost some big limbs, but it will survive. And then along the trail, we had multiple trees come down, and then a little bit of the chips wash away. I don't think it's anything to be concerned of. Fiona was a freak occurrence. Well, maybe not moving forward. We're expected to get, storms of that stature increasingly more. But with how the trail held up, I don't think anything needs to be done differently than how we're doing it. Now, you can see just how dense a lot of this forest is. Some of the trees I've taken down, I've counted out these rings. It hasn't been touched in decades. I've counted some that are, upwards of 50 years old. But there's so many here. They're spindles. They're tiny, which is perfect for the wood chipper to line the path. But I also need to take down some of those. Basically just open it up and allow for, a little bit better growth. Allow the more established trees to really fill in. And this is basically the end of the trail where I've gotten to right now. And the plan from here is to kind of go down here and weave down towards our main road. A couple hundred meters in that direction, and then I'll be looping around the perimeter of the parcel. And we got another big, this is probably going to be our main clearing coming up on the left here. I'm just kind of retracing my steps back about 50, 60 feet. There you go. I was just working in here the other day. These are all fresh chips. This is already just a natural, I don't want to say a clearing yet, but it's already fairly sparse here with some big established trees. So this is a perfect spot that's nice and isolated. You can't hear a thing. You can only hear nature here. So it's perfect to establish as a little playground for the baby in a couple of years once she's old enough to enjoy it. It's got a lot of cleaning up to do. There's absolutely nowhere near the finished product. I've learned, since I began this process, it's a heck of a lot more time efficient to really spend some time surveying the land before actually, starting to get in there and get your hands dirty. And in doing so, I've been able to come across a few little, hidden gem clearings like this, just naturally occurring across the parcel. That I wouldn't have known were there otherwise. And then I can build the trail appropriately, taking them into account. This is back at that junction now where we just were. That's where the trail's going next. And then this is back where we came. This is back to the entrance of the property. Now, we didn't do a full loop yet. Take you guys there and do a quick run by the tractor and wood chipper. Now eventually I'm going to do reviews on everything I use. This is just a preliminary walk around so you can see what's going on with the trail and what the plan is. And I plan on continuing making these videos and just updating everybody on the progress. This is another tree that was just downed by the hurricane, but this is actually I've established these little turnaround areas. I use basically a little convoy when I'm working in the woods. I have an old John Deere 140H3. I've got that all loaded up with wheel weights and a cab and a blade, and I tow the chipper And then the chipper has a hitch, and behind it is the trailer. You know, if I don't want to put the chips directly on the ground, I can shoot them in the trailer and then dump them where they need to be dumped. But yeah, because it's a convoy, it's a little bit long. It's a little bit hard to maneuver sometimes. So, like I said, I've established those turnaround areas. There you go. And you can see we have an electric fence on the property. You can see the dog in the background. He's wondering what I'm doing back here. He's a big old Great Dane. But yeah, this does the trick. It's a workhorse. It's just a 17P. It's just a John Deere polymer trailer with the dump feature. And then this is the chipper. This is doing the bulk of the work. This is the chainsaw. Like I said, it's by a company called Splitfire. It's a 4090 model. Fantastic. You know, I will do a full review on it. However, I can say it was worth every penny. You know, we did find this one used, so we got a great deal on it. But it is robust. It's well made. Could probably use an extra, you know, maybe 2-3 horsepower. Not the end of the world. Does have a really nice heavy flywheel to, you know, basically use stored energy to basically break up whatever you can fit in there. And then towing it all is this old vintage beast, which I love. Front wheel weights, triple in the rear. Three spool hydraulics, so I'm able to run something, you know, 4-way blade on the front, plus, you know, whatever I want on the back. The original cozy cab. You know, it's a fantastic tractor. I will always keep this thing. Eventually, once it starts to break down, I will refurbish it and fix it back up. But this thing is a workhorse. Anyways, back to the trail. There you go. It feels like you're walking a ways, but then when you look at the timer of how long it takes in the lap, to do a lap, oh, it's disheartening sometimes because, man, it's a lot of work to get this stuff done by yourself. And then to see that you've done a lap and it's only taken you 7 or 8 minutes or whatever it is. It's going to be well worth it in the long run, though. And here we come back to the property. There's the puppers. Otis is his name. Beautiful day here. Not a cloud in the sky. It's mid-October. I want to say it's probably 18, 19 degrees. Just beautiful. That's a weeping willow that we just put in. Actually, it's not a weeping willow. It's a cascading willow. We're excited for that thing to grow in the next few years. And these trees are just beautiful. And that's strategically placed just by a French drain that's in the property. So it should have lots of water to suck up and grow. It's basically these trees, the more water the better. And then there's that entrance again. Eventually we're going to have a nice little archway there. We don't know what we're going to name the trail yet. Probably something after our daughter, but we'll do that upon completion of the trail, which is still years away. Anyways, everyone, that's it for now. I'll be back soon doing some review videos and showing progress on what I've accomplished. All right, have a great day, everyone.